guys, I'm Zed.
And I'm Z.
So, G-Dubs just put out the Balance Dataslate.
Yeah, so it looks like it's a new thing that they're trying to do to help make the game a little bit more balanced, and, well, I'm happy for it.
Yeah, because what it looks like this thing is to bring some armies that haven't got the...
Some of the armies that have gotten their codexes are getting some balance tweaks. The ones that haven't are getting some upgrades or some other tweaks. Basically, they're trying to make the scene a little bit more balanced and fair, considering certain armies are just not as good as they could be or should be or have been. So it's one of the G-Dubs balancing acts they're doing.
I'm going to be honest. This scares me just a little for a couple of these armies. That they're trying to balance them, which means we're not going to be seeing them for a little while.
Yeah, but that's the inevitability. Basically, we know we're rolling through at least another year. We have been in the bad times. So getting stuff out, getting stuff released has already been hectic as is. And simply put, I refuse to believe any company was never affected by it. Everyone was affected. It changed lives. So to say that, them putting this kind of thing out there, or putting codexes out hasn't been delayed or hasn't been put back at all.
Well,
I'm not buying that. I think they probably wanted to have a few more books out by now, and instead we're kind of operating on the new timeline.
I can prove that it has affected them because there was a couple codexes that were slated to come out early this year and they were delayed by about a month or two. So, but regardless of that, before we get into it, I like most of this. I do not have a problem with almost any of it, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, one of my armies I play was affected, so I don't know enough about one and a half. So I don't know enough about the details of the other armies there to be able to speculate. I did kind of pull some of the changes there, so I'll kind of have some opinions based on my play experience, but ultimately I'm going to kind of be making some decisions that may be about questionable informed, so...
Alright, and if you don't know what we're talking about, go down to the description. I will have a link to the community post, which has the PDF for this update, so you can read it yourself.
And it's a downloadable PDF, so you'll be able to copy it down if you need to make it printed out, so you have that available to you. You'll be able to do that.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and jump into it.
So, starting off, we've got the universal match play rule, which is basically just a change to what they allot for your ability to take flyers. As read from the Balance Dataslate, when mustering your army for a match play game, it cannot include more than one aircraft model if you are playing a combat patrol or incursion-sized game, more than 2 aircraft models if you are playing a strike force-sized game, or more than 3 aircraft models if you are playing an onslaught-sized game. Basically, depending on the size of the game, they've limited the number of flying models you may, normal aircraft flying models you may take. So,
for our local stuff, that really wasn't a problem.
It wasn't a problem. What that's going to mean for me is, okay, cool, I can't play Flight of the Valkyrie anymore. Okay, I make some minor adjustments. So it's a little bit inconvenient, but it's not a deal breaker. And ultimately, for the health of the game, because they've been having to tweak flyers pretty frequently, it's one of those. I think it's probably going to result in a better experience.
Flyers are kind of wonky in the game a little bit.
Yeah, so it's one of those. We'll be able to kind of manage and make through it. We're going to skip through the ones that got points updates, because 2 armies got points updates as opposed to any rule changes. So we'll cover those at the end.
So, you just want to jump to Your boys?
My boys in green, yeah. So the Astra Militarum got some fun toys, at least in my opinion.
And I do love all of these updates for the guardsmen.
I'm gonna be a beggar that is choosing. I would have liked more, but I'll take what I got. So the first change is they changed the save characteristic of the Lehman Russ to a 2-up versus a 3-up what it was formerly. It's your main battle tank. They up-armored it, basically. Okay, that's fine. I'm perfectly okay with that. Realistically, it's going to try to make the Russes more viable. And, I was already rolling around with columns of Russes, so I'm totally not opposed to this change. The second change is when using the tank orders of a regiment tank commander model, you may select one friendly regiment vehicle, excluding Titanics. So, no Baneblades getting these fun orders.
Aww.
Yeah, no. So when I was first told about this change, they didn't mention that they excluded Titanic. So I was just like, oh yeah, we're getting them on the Baneblades. No, I don't get that lucky. But I still get it on my artillery pieces, so that's fun. Within 6 inches of the regiment tank commander model, instead of selecting a Lehman Russ unit. So basically, again, you can give orders to non-Russ units that aren't Baneblades.
So the
Hydra, a regular Taurox, things like that. Basically, they can give orders down to like those, the Basilisk, all that. So it's a way you can spread it out and get more stuff down to the different types.
Which, again, good job. I like that.
Yeah. Moving along to the next one, we have Chaos Space Marines.
Oh, wait. You got one.
Oh.
Each time a regiment...
Yeah, I forgot one of the Guard ones. Guard got the most out of this update, in my opinion. The Knights get 2 little bullet points of things. Guard got 3. They got 3 major changes. And from everything I've been reading, apparently they're not doing well in the tournament scene. So my experience is they've been fun to play. So to me, this is just a win-win. It's win more.
And the reason I know this one is because this one, we actually had a very long discussion at the shop over.
Yeah. This one was a pretty nice, enlightened discussion. So each time a regiment unit with the Voice of Command ability issues one of the following orders to a regiment infantry unit, that same order can be issued to one or more friendly regiment infantry units, excluding officer units, that are within 6 inches of the unit that the order was originally issued to. And the orders in question are take aim, first rank, second rank fire, bring it down, forge for the Emperor, get back in the fight, and fix bayonets. So what this means is you can waterfall some of your orders across multiple units for one use of a command.
Yeah.
So it's a really nice change. It means the infantry-based guard may become more viable in the forms of they're getting access to more of their orders across more of the army. It also means that while snipers will still hurt the army, they're going to be less vulnerable because they're going to have more ability to spread that out.
And it really is a cool one. I mean, now, does that mix with the Voxcaster where you can increase the range?
So the way this ability looks to work, based on the way it's worded, is Voxcaster will allow you to cast longer to that one unit. And then from that unit, it casts 6 inches out.
Oh.
So I give the order to the infantry squad. It's everything around 6 inches around that infantry squad is getting the orders.
Oh, nice.
So if you've got like a platoon built up or dug into a bunker or a fortification for like something like that, that's just something to keep in mind. And, another thing to note, these are for match play. So if you're doing a narrative-based campaign, you don't have to take these into effect. But realistically, I don't see that these really harm the match, like the narrative play or any of that too heavily.
No, actually, I think at least the guardsman stuff right now that we've just talked about kind of helps the narrative play a little bit.
Yeah, it makes sense that, oh, hey, by the way, spread it along, pass it on, kind of thing. So
Yeah.
it's one of those. It'll be nice. I think overall this is a nice change. And some of the armies got some of the other armies got some nice things as well. So we'll kind of start covering those now.
All right. So for the Chaos Space Marine.
So the Chaos Space Marine ability indicates a change to the Death to the False Emperor ability to read. Each time a model with this ability makes a melee attack, a hit roll of 6+ scores 1 additional hit. So basically, they're exploding 6s to hit.
Not bad. We'll skip over that one.
The next group we're going to kind of cover here, because the Chaos Space Marines were pretty cut and dry, pretty simple modification. The Imperial Knights and the Chaos Knights get the same rules modifications, mostly because this is just kind of cleaning up some of the rules, but it also allows them to be played a little bit nicer, I think. Considering they're just mirror armies. That's really what they are.
Yeah.
So, the first bullet point they cover for them is all vehicle models with the Imperial Knights or Chaos Knights faction keyword gain the following ability. Towering Foe. This model counts as 5 models when determining control of an objective marker. If this unit is if this model is a Titanic model, and instead counts as 10 when determining control of objective markers. So, basically, it's going to help out your objective securing. And the second bullet point, if every model from your army has either the Chaos Knights or Imperial Knights faction keyword, excluding agents of the Imperium or unaligned units, then all Armiger class and War Dog models from your army gain objective secured. So basically, it gives your mini knights objective secured, and the rule is saying, hey, these guys are counting as 5. If it's one of the bigger knights, they count as 10 for purposes of securing objectives. So it's just a way to help out in objective-based gameplay.
Was it kind of a problem with knights in 9th edition for securing? Because 9th edition is about points. I mean, there's a lot of rules. Match points are a very big key, and this helps with your knights being able to secure more points, which allows you to win more games.
Yeah, so I think it's a nice change for them. Necrons get a nice little, I don't know, I would call it a buff.
I would definitely call this a buff.
Basically, they get to add the core keyword to a large section of their codex, specifically to Canaptic Anthorites from the Imperial Armor Complementum, so Forge World, the Canaptic Reanimator, Canaptic Wraiths, Flayed Ones, Locust Destroyers, Locust Heavy Destroyers, Ophidian Destroyers, Scorpec Destroyers, and Triarch Praetorians. So a lot more of their models just got made core.
That's big.
Yeah, it's some nice big oversweeping changes there that should help the army a little bit, at least in terms of its playability and its buffs. So I think that's going to be a nice change for them.
Now, the last one is the Orc one, and this is the only one I would actually say is a little bit not good for the Orc players, but
so
it helps balances the game.
This is certainly a nerf. Basically, when mustering an Orc army, it cannot include more than one of each of the following units. So basically, they put a rule of 1 in play for these models. That's going to be the Boomdakis Nazwagon, Rip the Dream, the Custom Boom Blaster, the Megatrack Scrap Jets, my go-to, the Rucker Truck Squig Buggy, and the Shock Jump Dragster. So all of these basically going down to rule of 1. I would not be surprised if a lot of the Orc players start putting these up on eBay. So if you're looking for one, this might be a time to find something cheap. Otherwise, though, yeah, I like that they gave us these new vehicles and that they were cool and flavorful, and it turned out to be good for a while. But thus comes the price of being good for any amount of time in a G-Dubs product.
You get nerfed.
You get hit with a hammer. Doesn't matter what kind of hammer.
And again, it's kind of fine for me because There's not many orc players up here, but I also don't play too many of these things.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I enjoy the Rocket Truck Squick Buggy because to me it's a joke. It's a huge meme. I don't own orcs, but that would be a model I would have if I owned orcs. So, to me, seeing it be limited to one, I'm like, I get it. It's sad though.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to cut here for a second because we're going to set up for the next one because that's the point.
Yeah, 2 armies got some points adjustments, and we'll cover that a little bit in detail.
Alright, so give us 1 second. Alright. So we're back. Sorry, I had to pull something up on my phone, and it was going to take a second. And also, I needed my glasses.
Okay, Velma.
I'm sorry. When I'm close up to the camera, I can see perfectly fine, but from my point of view, we were out of focus. But Z here kept telling me, no, we're in focus.
At least from my angle. I'm also trying to look through a tripod, so...
Yeah. Alright, so... Adeptus Mechanicus point changes.
Yeah, so the Castellans came down a little bit, about 10 points. But both Archaeopters, or 2 of the notable Archaeopters went up. The Fusilier went up 20, the Stratoraptor went up 20. Their Marshal got more expensive by 10 points. Rangers went up a point. And then the Tech Priest Manipulus went up 10 points. So for a lot of this, it was their cheap stuff. What my impression is their cheaper stuff kind of went up. Their flyers kind of went up. But the Castellans came back down.
Which isn't that bad. I actually thought that this was going to be way worse for the Mechanicus.
Yeah.
But doesn't look like that much.
I mean, to me, the nice part was it wasn't just all sweeping plus points. There were some, getting cheaper there. And same for our other army we're going to cover here.
Which is the Drakari.
Yeah, so the Raider Dark Lances went up 10 points. The Incubi, Succubus, and Witches all went up 2 points. But then the Grotesque came down 5 points. So someone who looked into the army about maybe getting like the Witch Covens, it's one of those, oh no. But I kind of also decided that wasn't something I wanted to do. So, it's one of those, I can understand it.
Again, it's, you hear, oh no, my army got a point update. Which means it's going to cost much more. Even these points, none of these points look all that bad.
No, but the thing to keep in mind is if you're taking 50 Rangers, that's a 50-point increase across the entire army before anything else. So it's one of those, you'll see some impact from it. It's going to mostly move around what you see where. So, for example, the 10 points you saw here, these, additional 40 points for guys, you might cut out a unit, or you might cut a squad, or you might drop some special weapons. Basically, it's just going to mean people are moving their list around to kind of adapt. But, like any rules update, that's what happens.
Oh, yeah.
It's like if a new codex were to come out. It's just like for the Imperial Guard here, for example. That's going to push a lot more Leon Russes into play. It's going to push officers into play, other infantry-based units. We already had the other book give us, White Shields, which push, the conscripts a little bit more. So there's a couple of things going on right now that I think overall is good for the balance of the game. It's pushing us in a pretty good direction. Right now, more than anything else, I would say let's not overreact to this. Let's see how this plays out. I like that they're doing this more than just, oh, hey, here's simple points fixes. Hope that helps. Instead, they're actually going, hey, the armies need help. The rules are not working the way we need them to. And for some of these armies that haven't been updated in a long time, cough, cough, Necrons, they were one of the first codexes, or armies that haven't gotten their codex yet, like Imperial Guard.
Guardman.
Yeah, it's a way that they can kind of keep them relevant, keep it pushing forward, and keep interest of those players who play those armies.
I overall just liked all of it. It doesn't seem to change all that much unless you're paying attention more to the meta, what tournament players are playing and stuff like that.
And these changes feel like they were a response to that meta, but I think it's something that a casual player or a casual fan of the game can pick up and appreciate nonetheless.
Yeah.
Again, I play pretty casually in 40k because it's more of like a hobbyist type game for me. So the fact that my army got better, I was cool with that. I was fun with that. It's like, okay, cool. It makes sense that the armored company commander could give orders to the other parts of the armored company.
Yeah.
It's one of those. That's why I wish that they had kept, or that Titanics had been included. But I understand for balance reasons you can't really do that. So I'm not salty about it. I'm just a little bit disappointed.
I'm not even really disappointed. I'm fine with it that I can't give orders to my Baneblade.
I would love for it, but I also would love for it to be like a command vehicle or something like that, where I can take the queue option for a point fee. So yeah, I mean, overall, I'm pretty impressed. I'm pretty happy about these changes. I would put it probably at like an 8 out of 10, satisfaction here. Obviously, it's one of those, nobody wants to see their army go up in points and them have to move things around. But I think for the sake of the game, and I think for where we're at, I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's something that's pretty helpful.
I would give it an 8 out of 10 myself. Most of the rules I agree with. The orc one, I disagree with, but I also see why.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, it's one of those, I'm not upset in any real way about this. I saw this and it was all positive reaction. So, yeah, I've got some minor nitpicky things, so I can't really rank it a 10 out of 10. And I'm not doing the half point thing, so it's like I'm going to round it down rather than round up. So it was in that 8 to 9 range for me. I was pretty satisfied seeing this update.
I think the biggest thing, which isn't a big thing, was the aircraft thing.
Yeah, that's kind of where one of my few sticking points came from, is like, yeah, certain aircraft could be really oppressive or problematic. I don't think every aircraft was a problem. So it's one of those, that was kind of a minor nitpicky thing too, but it's one of those, I understand why they did it. And, the game existed before the aircraft. The game will exist if aircraft are not great. It's one of those, for the most part, we're obliged to take HQs and troops. I don't think any of those are aircraft.
No. G-Dubs, good job. I would like to see some more. Maybe not right now. Give it a couple months. Possibly some more.
Yeah, and if this is how they're going to be pushing us out updates going forward, like every 6 months, every year, I'm okay with this. This is a way to kind of keep things changing, keep things mobile, and keeping things fresh for the armies that don't get a new model line or don't get a new toy right now.
And I like it. So with that all being said, stay forever, dude. Stay safe, and we'll catch you next time. Peace.
Take care.